Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So I'm coming back in with the card topper pad called Festive Florals, which I think is really badly named. I think it should have been Winter Florals because there's only like about 2 designs that are particularly Christmassy, I think. But I'll give you a quick flick through it. I'm going to be playing with this one today. You get 3 sheets of everything. But obviously, apart from the sentiments there, you know, nothing particularly Christmassy. A couple of snowflakes, like I say, it could be winter. Again, here we've got the sort of winter roses, kind of snowflake designs there. But again, it could be winter birthdays. We've got our hellebores and poinsettia there. I mean, this one could definitely be birthday. And this one too, because it's not too poinsettia like, it's just flower like. Same with this one. I think even that one you could get away with it. Obviously this one would have to be Christmas, but this one isn't. And the thing I love about these card topper pads is you do get the silver and the gold foil. Again, hellebores, they're usually January when they sort of flower. So definitely winter birthdays or occasions. Again, nothing there particularly Christmas apart from the snowflake. This one is the only, I think maybe the next one is a bit more Christmassy as well. But then again, you know, this, if you put in a sentiment on their happy birthday, I think that would work. Same with this one maybe as well. But that's it for this pad. So let's have a little play, like I say, with this one called Winter Blessings. Let's pop that to the side for a second. And I'm going to bring in my trimmer. Looking a little messy there. I need to give it a bit of a clean out. And I've got a piece of A4 ink me cardstock. And I'm going to cut this down to, so I'm doing a 5x7. What is that? That's 8. Now I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to cut it 5 inches along there. Obviously that goes into my bit box. And then I'm going to go 9, I think. So we're going to do a cutaway card. And then again with this one we want 2 inches. Okay, so we'll use that to reconstitute our card back. And then for acetate, I'm using a piece of, this is Crafter's Companion acetate, heavyweight. And what sort of length is that? So I've just cut it to about 1 notch under the 5. And I'm going to cut this to 4. So it's 4x5 is the sort of size piece. And don't forget to keep all of those because they can be utilised. And I think what we'll do is reconstitute our card first of all, and then we can start to bring our cutter back in, our trimmer back in, and do those other layers. So on this larger piece here, let's turn, no, we will put it that way because it'll be hidden then, and we're just going to score at 2 inches at the top, and that's going to give me my little top fold there. And we'll pop this with a burnisher, and what we'll do is pop this onto here, and that's going to make our card blank back together. If you've seen my channel, if you've been with me a while, you will have seen me do this a couple of times before, quite a few. It's one of my favourite ways to you know, it's a great card style for these longer toppers. So I'm just popping some super sticky red liner tape, not right on the edge because I still want that white border. I do like a white border on my card. Just checking I've got the right side for that piece. Let's go that way around. And then again we can pop that on there. And the way I like to do this when I remember is to fold the edge back. I will just pop a little bit of tacky glue on there. Oops. And that's the Kalau tacky glue. Actually, let me just put that on there and make sure I've got enough. So I'm just making sure I've got enough to stick down on both sides. And then what I can do is just get that into position. And then when I'm happy, just peel that tape off. So I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today. And Henry is a little bit barky, purely because there's some kind of workmen getting in and out of a van outside. So I will, as always, try and edit him out, because it can be a bit triggering for some people, can't it? So just taking the whole thing off of there, and the easiest thing to do is just to shut your card on that one. And then there we've got our card. You can see at the moment it's not as strong as it was, but once we've got the topper on, sort of joining those together, that's going to bring that on. So I can just see I've just gone over the edge there with that acetate, so I'm just going to tidy that up a little bit, and that's why I go about 1 notch under. Okay, so let's bring in the trimmer, and I'm going to have to bring in some A4 silver mirror, because that topper is silver. And I'm going to start by taking it to 2 notches under the 5 by 2 notches under the 7. And that's going to be our inside piece, because we can see that through there we are going to need to decorate on the inside. You probably could get away with a foiled insert if you wanted to. But that's not what I'm doing today. So these next pieces, again, I'm going 2 notches under the 5, because we know that's the length across the top there. And then I'm going to want 2 pieces that are going to be 2 notches under the 2. And then that piece will go into my little bit bag for now. So those are those pieces there and there. Now, I've been stealing from an old club kit from the beginning of this year called Floral Serenity. If you did get the bundle, you will have some beautiful foiled cardstock in silver, because that kit was silver. And I also had a bit of insert left over with this blue here. If you haven't got anything left over from that Floral Tranquility, what I would say, because it's not available anymore unfortunately, because it was a club gift, you know, you've got your duo design pads, like your watercolor dreams, color fades, those sort of things, your damask, all of the ones from this year. There will be something beautiful in there. Also, if you have some different foiled kits, because each a luxury edge-to-edge foil kit, I will tidy that up with my guillotine, and that's well, it should be, no, I've done it wrong, look. So it should be 4 3/4. That's because I'm chatting. 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Let's just take that off. It's going super slowly. This blade is a little needs changing. Yeah, if you've got any of the foiled kits, what you might find is you've got something similar, because they do a mix of the patterns in each of the kits, and sometimes there's different ones. Maybe even going back a year or so, you might find a dotty one like this, or you may have one from another company. So for these front panels here, I'm cutting 2 pieces, and they're going to be 4 3/4 by 1 3/4. So that's going to go onto the front. so. Again, we never get rid of those pieces, they do come in. And then let's just pop that to the side. Let me bring in my little guillotine. And we will just tidy that edge up. I'm not taking really anything off it, just the fluff. If you've got the bigger guillotine, it might be worth just cutting those inserts on there. Another place to find inserts is have a look at the magazines, because they have got their free downloads with them. So you might find something with the blue tones in the free downloads if you haven't got anything from any other kits. Okay, so let's go ahead. So I'm going to use my Clout All-Purpose Glue and my tacky glue in the corners. That's just the way I like to glue. And we'll pop that on. And this is the Hunkydory Miri card, which in my opinion is the best. Although, to be fair, I don't know if I've ever used anything else besides Pound Shop. So for the insert, I'm not going to use the tacky glue. There's a little bit of fluff on there still. I'm going to use my dotty tape pen in those corners. Just throw it on the floor. And then that all-purpose. Just making sure that I do smooth this out really well, because that glue can dry with little bubbles underneath it. That can be hard to write on, but if you just give it a good press all around. It's only on the insert bits, on the other bits it's not going to make any difference at all. Okay, so for these bits, to stick onto the acetate, I do like to use some more red liner. Just a little bit along there. And the top, you probably would get away with not using it because you are going to be gluing all the way up here, and that's probably going to keep it on your card if I'm honest with you. But because these cards go off to charity at the moment, I do like to just make sure everything stays in place. Probably why I am probably an over-adheser. I do put quite a bit of glue on, glue pads, etc. So, and then what I'm going to do is just slide that into place, and remembering I'm keeping that white line there, which is why I've put that insert down first, because then you've got that contrast against it, which is gonna make that easier to see. And then when you're happy, you can just peel that off. Oops, again, just give that a nice little fold over. I'm going to come over with my two glues. And either one of these glues would work, to be fair. I'm just a little bit impatient and overcautious. So again, just sliding that into place, keeping that where you want it, and then pulling that out. So here is where we are at the moment. Now, because everything is covered, all the acetate, all the workings are covered, it's all very neat. And we can just go back to our normal glues. And we'll just start matting and layering these on. This is such a pretty little polka dot. There we go. And that is the basis of our card, looking quite pretty as it is. Now, so this first card, I'm going with this one here, which is this beautiful sort of, looks like a blue passion flower to me, to be honest. Now, if you do it on the 6x6, if you wanted a slightly smaller card, what you could do is pop that way and then have that one that way, and then that will bring your card size down as well. But we are going to keep this as it is today. go into there like so. We'll also bring in, we will bring in from the shaped sentiments. So let's just plan this out. There is one very light near the back, I think. There is silver and gold foil in these, so these are perfect. I did want happy birthday. Especially for you, but we could go with a thank you so much with that dark blue. Let's see what that especially for you looks like. Maybe it might be a bit too light against those blues, but it is a slightly different blue by the looks. Yeah, it gets lost a bit. That was the one I picked out, but let's just see. There's bound to be something else in here. Got an oh wow. I love these books. For you. Gotta find the silver ones again. Oh, we're all gold there. Let's. Sorry about this. Like I say, I did plan it all. Maybe we could go with a Today Is All About You. To a special man. So I'm just looking at the darker ones. Sorry it's late. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to go with, shall I go with Sorry It's Late or Today Is All About You? Let's have a little look at that one, because that's quite a nice big chunky one. Or we could go, I think that needs to go down the bottom. And then we could have some dark blue gems up there, and I think that is going to be okay. Right, okay, so that's the plan. So I'm going to bring in some blue, these are blue 2mm foam pads. Let's just cut some of these in half because it is a bit of a narrower frame. And then I just want to pop that on to that left hand side, but I'm just checking where I can put my pads. Although I could hide it with something on the inside if I wanted to, but we'll pop 3 on there. And I think these sort of acetate cards where you've got that view going through, they are quite visually quite stunning, and always get a bit of a reaction. So there is no right or wrong, the pattern's the same either way. So I've just put a little bit of purple glue stick on there just so that I can get that into position, and I'm just trying to get an equal amount of piece there. Let's just see, how is that? Yeah, I think that's fine. And then for this one, what I'm going to do is pop 1 in the middle, which I will hide, and then I'm going to pop 1 top and the bottom, and I think that should be fine. Now let's just check we're not going over the edge. We may be a little bit with that one. Let's just do that again. A little closer to the top. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of residue off. Use my glue eraser and try that again, just closer to that top piece, and then that should be fine. There we go. Now, because I've put that one in the middle, I will put a bit of purple glue at the top and the bottom, but once that middle one is stuck, that's going to be it. So it's going to be a case of just hovering with those two top ones. When you're happy, pop it down. Could do it going that way just a little. You see you've got that one on the inside, and what you'll see now is, now that you've glued that together, that automatically becomes, I'm not showing you really well, it becomes a lot more stiffer, as if, you know, it was a card, a normal card. So for this one, we are going to raise this up again. So we're going to go with 2mm, and I want it on this side. And there, that's not my dog barking, that's somebody else's. And have I got a little one? Just one down that bottom there. And it sounds like there's a boxer dog on the end, so it sounds like he's unhappy about being out in the garden maybe. But there is our Today Is All About You. Now in the book, back to the book, there is a tag with the same flower on. So I'm going to use that. You've seen me do this before. Let's use the dotty tape. Actually, no, I had the other one here. I was using it on some presents. Here you are, hiding. This is the straight line one. Perfect for acetate. And then what we're going to do, just pop that on the inside as a nice little surprise, or as the kids today say, an Easter egg, so that when they open it, that's what they see. Okay, so coming to the gems. It's Geronimo barking now. Got a few dark blue ones left here. Okay, apologies. So let's just pop one up on that corner there. Good, nice and neat. Sorry, he's barking again. Finish this one, and then I'll go in and see if we can shut him up. It's only because that box is barking that he's started contributing to the neighbourhood. But that is going to be our card number one. You could come in if you wanted to do the gems a different way with a little spray, like sometimes I do. I think that would look quite cool as well. But that's our card number one. And I'm just going to get set up for card number two. Okay, so for card number two, again, I'm going with another 5x7. I've just cut this from a piece of the A3 pad. So it's Ink Me cardstock, this one. So let's pop that little arm out. So this is just going to be a normal little tent fold. So I'm just going to cut my first mat at 2 notches under the 5. The dog is starting again now. By 2 notches under the 7. And I might keep that piece handy actually. And then I'm bringing in a Duo design pad. This one is the Watercolor Dreams and Colour Fades. And I wanted this one with this beautiful blue fading down. So I'm going to take this one to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Keeping more of the blue on there on this one. Okay, so I'm kind of going for a sort of sympathy sort of style card, either a sort of, I don't like to say commemorate, but you know, an anniversary, I suppose is the word I'm looking for. Or, you know, sadly this time in the UK we do and lose a lot of people as it starts to get colder. So let's just measure this piece. So this piece is 1 3/4, no, 1 1.5 minus 2 notches. So again, this is a lace print that came out of that Floral Serenity foiled edge to edge bundle. Sadly not available anymore. So I'm just going to take this to 1 1/4, and I think, I'm hoping that's going to be enough. Yeah, it's perfect. So just, and this is how these bundles are brilliant value, because you can be using them all year round. And I'm going to take this to 4 3/4, and this piece that needs to be 4 3/4 also, because this is going to go across the middle, and I don't want there to be a silver edge on each, so that will go across like so. Again, that piece I'll just pop back in the folder. I never know when that's going to come in. Now, just because this is paper doesn't mean that you can't emboss on that. You can put it through. I have done before with the Duo Design pads, pop them through an embossing folder, so you could add some texture to this. I'm just going to keep it, I should have done the dots first, never mind. I'm just going to keep it plain on this occasion, but like I say, you can just pop it gently through an embossing folder, and that will give you a nice texture on the sort of dots or the diagonals, you know, those sort of quiet prints that add that lovely texture. So let's just give that a nice press down, and then we can pop that onto my card. And this one's going to be really quick and simple, really. The longest part of this card making has been choosing what to use. And then we can pop that on. There we go. And then this one again, just go with the normal glues on this one, even though it is a smaller piece. And you could go long ways down if you prefer and do it 6 3/4. I'm just going to pop that on. But I'm not going to stick that on yet. I want to bring the topper in and work out where we want that to go. So let's go back to our book. Pop out this one. Kind of feel like I want that maybe in the middle. Just, I don't want it to be like the focus of it. I just want to bring in just that tiniest little piece of silver. And then for the sentiment, I went to this one, and I'm hoping this will work. In the banners, I've got an Always in My Thoughts, which that's in green. Where are you? Yeah, thinking of you. So maybe we could go a little higher, have that in the middle, pop that underneath, and then some gems, light blue ones or some clear ones would be perfect on this one. Like I say, you just want it to be a really nice gentle card. So let's go ahead and pop that across the middle. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that's nice and straight. Let's bring in my little T-square. Okay, happy with that. And then we were going across the middle with this. So I'm just going to use some 1mm frame pads. Let's use these ones up. So let's just turn that over. And all I'm going to do is just put pads on these pieces here, because this piece of cardstock will support that edge. And it's a really chunky frame. So we don't need to cut these down in any way, shape or form. That's them done. Again, just using up bits that I've got lying around, tidying up. I did manage to get my tree up yesterday. We did put a few baubles on it, just because of Geronimo. To be fair, he's more interested in the tinsel because he does like to shred things. There's a stair on the, there's a bit of carpet on the stair that he likes to try and pull up if he gets chance. I'm just going to pop that on. And you can see we've got this blue here, but this green, it almost turns this a little green, which is really pretty. So just use those that purple glue stick to help you maneuver that where you want that to go. And I will just bring in that T-square again. It is straight. And then we're going to do the same with the 2mm on this one, but because this goes completely in there, what I can do is just pop the pads straight into there. So I will put a nice amount on there. Let's do that one that way. And I'll use my tacky glue rather than the purple glue. I love the purple glue. I think it's the best thing on these pads to give you that wiggle room time, because you get that bit of slidability with it and you get a good window of opportunity to move things. But the tacky glue, I don't like to take it to a project because I am very messy with it. So because we're going onto the project or onto my card, I'm just going to pop that straight in. So there's that one. And then we're going to bring those blues in there. Again, I'm going to go 2mm with this. Is that going to be white enough? Yes, it is. And this is pretty much going to be it, except for some gems. I think I'll go with some clear gems on this. Keep it really soft. And this could just be for somebody who's going through a tough time this time of year. Maybe they've lost someone. Last year, maybe it's their first Christmas without someone. That's always really hard. Mind you, they don't get it much easier, do they? But right, so these are clear dewdrop gems, which I got from Temu. There are a couple of different colours in there. They look like little raindrops. They are one, I go through phases where they're like my favourite thing, but I realised I hadn't used some in a while, so I did buy some more because I didn't have very many there. So these ones come in a couple of different sizes, like I say. So let's just pop. Is there a smaller one? One smaller. And then we'll go 1, 2, them about in a second. Let's just get this. Oh, we want that to go, and then I'm going to pop one up in that corner just to bring that in. So I'm leaving this one out so we can go, I think, like around about there. Again, keeping those odd numbers in. Now I do use the tacky glue with it. It dries clear, and all you're going to see underneath it is going to be that beautiful cardstock. These are, if you've got the right size, if you are doing a die cut, maybe of an animal and it's got black eyes, as long as the black is underneath already. If you've got the teeny tiny ones, these can make those eyes pop a little. Like I say, you've got to have the right size though, because otherwise it looks a bit weird. I suppose if you've got like a little glasses die, like for Spellbinders, monsters, some of them have glasses. Some of these gems might fit into there. Okay, so that is going to be my second card. Like I say, really nice and soft thinking of you card. Like I said, it's got the little snowflakes on, but here we've got the lace, which is why I brought that one in. In that pack there is also a white lace if you wanted to bring the white lace in instead of that blue, but I just thought it might be nice to bring that blue back in. But that's card number 2. Let's bring back in card number 1. There's still plenty left on that sheet, I think. Let's just have a little look. Excuse you over. There we go. So we've still got this snowdrop. We've got all of the sentiments which we can keep. Some of them are not really, I mean, this one says peace and goodwill. This one says thinking of you. This one says heartfelt wishes to let you know that you are thought of warmly at this special time of year. And then winter blessings, and may every snowflake bring a little Christmas magic to your heart. And obviously you've got that snowflake border there as well. So, but like I say, a lot of these don't, they are sort of just winter themed rather than Christmassy, which is perfect, which is why I'm quite happy to be crafting away with them. Now we're getting a bit closer to Christmas. I kind of feel like most people would have maybe finished their Christmas cards. I still have got 1 or 2 to do for my sister, but I am going to be doing a little bit more Christmas decorating today, and then jumping back into more crafting after that. But that's it for me today. I'm going to be coming back with this pad again next time. Like I say, I'm not making Christmas makes with it though. I am making, you know, stretching that to the other themes. But until next time, thanks for watching and happy crafting. Bye.